Hello everybody, this is Tyler, also known as Pocket, and welcome back to Lucid9. Sorry about the cliffhanger last time, but that just seems like the perfect cutting off point. The cutting off point I wanted it last time, but 45 minutes, I'm not going to just make another hour-long video. Without further ado, let's continue. Existential nihilism, the belief that there's no meaning, no value, nothing to life. I barely remember being terrified of the notion when I first hear about it in class. Most students just laughed it off. How stupid. How depressing. Life has no purpose? Whoever made that up has issues. But it was too close to me. Living a life of homework, keeping my head down and going through each day. Wondering where I was and what I was doing. Maybe I've been trying too hard to find meaning where there is none. Maybe I've been desperately grasping for straws to find some kind of significance in an inconsequential existence. From a strictly technical viewpoint, time is a big ball of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff. Doctor Who reference. Good. This is not the time to be thinking philosophical thoughts. Being at the bottom of a pool, just an arm's reach away from a serial killer, probably with only 30 seconds left before I run out of breath and start drowning. Any sensible person would leave the Socrates session for another day and wait until all basic needs are met first. Guess I'm not as sensible as I thought. Either that, or I can't bring myself to be. You can lead a student to air, but you can't make them breathe. That's how the saying should go. Maybe. I should just sleep. I suddenly feel so tired. I think I've been here before. That's right. This is a familiar road. There's a sign at an intersection, I think. It's rickety and rusted. One from use. There's no words on it, just two arrows. One pointing forward, one pointing backward. I'd just like to stay here. A fork in the road is such a dangerous thing. Left, right, a one-time decision, and if it turns out that you run into an obstacle, then you'll find yourself wishing that you made the other choice. Then, don't you start overthinking everything? What if I'd taken the other road? What if the other road was worse? What if there was another road? If only I looked harder. What if I haven't taken the road at all? What if I'd gone backwards? Two roads diverged in the wood, and I took the one less traveled by. And that has made all the difference. A poem written by Robert Frost, originally intended to be a simple teasing joke, no hint of a playful satire at indecision. But people saw it as something else. Even though they weren't poets, they started adding their own kind of verses to the composition. Independence, individualism, science, discovery, curiosity, free will, and the human condition. Poor Robert Frost. Suddenly, he had written an entirely different poem, even without touching his pen. Two words diverged in a road, and I took. Heavily medicated, Doctor. Anytime he's coherent, he thrashes around. We have to sedate him every time. How long? 2 weeks. The record? Here, sir. I assume that when he screams for her, he's referring to the other patient? We think so, sir. But she's still recovering with therapy. We haven't been able to get her in here. What's her progress? He started speaking again after her parents came with the photo album. We're also hoping that the daily fresh air will help her walk. And how about her arm? Psychosomatic, like her legs. We'll be monitoring it over therapy. Good. She'll likely be our fastest ticket to his recovery. But it might be a while before Miss Hayata is able to. Rui? Ah, Mr. Ishimoto. Are you awake? Can you see me? Rui? Mr. Ishimoto, can you tell me? Where's Rui? Where did you take her? She's supposed to be here. Safe. Hold him down. Show me Rui. My own two eyes. Diazepam. Give her back. Give her. Give me a second, I need to clean off my glasses. Here comes a candle to light you to bed. Here comes a chopper to chop off your head. Chip, chop, the last man's dead. Sometimes, I really wonder about children's nursery rhymes. Why do we let young kids listen to such twisted ideologies? Children aren't supposed to deal with that kind of stuff. They're supposed to be innocent. It's supposed to be innocent. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and... My world suddenly feels warm. What is that? Why is it happening? I suddenly get the impression that I'm awake. I think someone's holding my hand. The tip of my fingers feel warm, like they're being cradled in a loving palm. Everything else is blinding light that drills into the back of my eyes. Home. Home is here. Home. Finally got to visit you. I'm sorry for the wait. I had to go through therapy to start talking again. I know that the whole thing is over, thanks to you, but whenever I close my eyes, well, I guess I'm really thankful that the doctors could help me. I just hope that it'll be the same for you. Well, I'll let you rest up. You'll need a lot of it. Oh, and this whole thing? Doctors say I'll be out of it in a week. Apparently all in my head. Honestly though, the wheelchair's not all that bad. I feel kind of like royalty. You know how they had those, what are they called? Sedans? And they got carried around all the time? I guess this is what it feels like that. Oh, and Yama. I love. I love laughing at your grades. So hurry up and get well, dummy! I dream a little longer. My dreams are softer now, a little more delicate, like lace instead of sandpaper. I see a young kid grasping the hand of his older sister. In another world, that kid grows up to be more confident, more assured. He learns how to deal with bullies so that he won't have to bother his sister. He learns how to study hard and make friends, and play soccer like all the other boys his age. He doesn't withdraw, lost in his room. He doesn't keep to himself on the playground. He's a happy young boy who turns into a happy teenager. He goes to the prestigious middle school in the area, the academy, to follow in his sister's footsteps. Because his family never left the city. His family never fled to a suburban little town 3 hours away from Isamu. The family stayed, because in this other world, there was never an event that had to do with a bus, a blizzard, a loose tread, a frozen river. So the young boy also stayed. Maybe he meets a lovely orange-haired girl at this middle school. Maybe he befriends her, because she's lovable and bright and impossible to dislike. Or maybe he doesn't. Maybe he falls in with a different crowd. A sea of faces that play soccer and grab ramen on snowy days and study in the library when it's raining. Either way, he flourishes, loves his life, maybe dates once or twice. He studies hard for the college entrance exams, and he passes with flying colors in this other world. He makes it into the university of his dreams. He studies something that he loves. Graduates, finds a girl, gets married. Maybe she has orange hair, maybe she doesn't. Maybe he finds a good job, has kids, smiles like an idiot when his daughter wraps his fingers around his pinky. He'll name her after his sister, the one who's alive and well, who married a decent guy and had kids of her own. Then, that boy, who turned into a teenager, who turned into a man, will wake up one day and he'll be happy. He'll be whole and he'll be wondering if this was all there was to life. My eyes peel open, sluggishly, like they haven't done so for a decade. My muscles feel weak and lifeless, spindled slugs on the sidewalk. My throat's dry and my head is smarting. So, looks like I'm in the hospital. I notice that the nurse is at my bedside, filling with the IV drip on the table. She seems tired, drawn eyes, tight frown. I clear my throat to get her attention. Excuse me. The words eject in a queasy croak. The nurse jumps at the raw noise, but relaxes when she notices me. Oh, wonderful. You're awake? Her voice is chipper, but I notice how she eyes me with caution, like I'll lunge out of bed and strangle her if she makes any sudden move. Do you remember your name? Yama Ishimoto. Good. Do you remember how you got here? By ambulance, I'd assume. I was in dry laughter. Everything seems funny. The nurse eyes me for a minute, then presses the intercom. Doctor? The patient's awake. Can you speak with him? They give me a basic physical exam, followed by a psychological inventory. I give all the answers I think are correct and expect an imminent release. I'm ready to get back to my life. Instead, they take me to a room with a plush couch and a contemporary lamp, where a man sits in an armchair and tries to get me to talk about my life. Therapy. I've been through it too many times. It's got quite old over the years. I'm so familiar with the proceedings that I resign myself to playing mind games with the therapist. Can I predict before he asks? Can I redirect his questions? But it's not such a smooth and humorous process. Therapy makes me recall everything. Breaking limbs with a pipe, my own 2 hands, driving myself insane, stabbing someone in the gut. During the first session, I black out. They tell me later that I crumpled into a ball and refused to respond to anything until Rui came. Rui, not out of her wheelchair. You've been in this hospital for 2 months, she said. Rui holds my hand in the next session. I squeeze until I'm afraid that I'll snap her fingers, just like I snapped those bones. She whispers, You're innocent. Don't you worry. It was all Raida's fault. You're a victim. I still feel blood on my hands whenever the sessions are over. I go to the bathroom to wash my hands. Once, twice, 5 times over. It still runs slick and steady over my wrists and into my forearm when I exit the bathroom. I stop speaking for a few days. There's nothing to talk about. I have too many sounds to remember. Too much cacophony. thrumming in the space between my ears. Rue sits by me, feeds me when I have no strength to lift the spoon, pulls the covers up to my chin, like my mom should have done. She tells me stories. A princess and a knight, a detective and a bar singer, a celebrity and an unfortunate grocer. Some days, I just sit and hold her hand, watching her eyes dance as she paints imagery canvases with her words. Because so much tires her out quickly. Sometimes, she just nods off in the middle of a sentence, so I lean her head on my shoulder and listen to the even rhythm of her breath. It's softer than the discord in my brain. Sometimes it lures me to sleep too. Then comes the session where I remember everything, every last bit, and I lose consciousness again. Give me a second, I'm gonna move the mic. It seems that I'm not talking loud enough for some reason, so better be safe than sorry. They say that they found me standing on the hospital rooftop, leaning against the banister with my arms spread wide, as if I was welcoming the city into a warm embrace. They'd instantly rushed me down, terrified that I'd try to kill myself. Calm down, I said. My smile was distant. I was just enjoying the view. They didn't believe me, so I'm confined to my room for a while. No one's allowed to see me except Rui, not even my own parents. They say it's because I didn't react well in their presence when I was delirious. So, like the beast with its beauty, I'm holed up in a hospital room, counting the days until I could pass the psychology inventory. Rui brings gifts from the others, envelopes and gift wrap boxes, and overly large bags that could have only been funded by Yahiko's purse. They're nice and the thought is touching, but I tell Rui to return them all. I plan on staying here, keeping the blood on my hands in one room. Rui cries every time, a heartbreaking, frustrated kind of crying as she punches me in the shoulder and yells that it's not my fault. It's Raida's. Why can't I get that through my head? But even if my brain agrees, my hands remember the scratchiness of the pipe, the vibration of each terrible impact, and the oozing, sinking feeling of a knife sinking in the flesh. So I can only kiss her on the forehead and thank her for staying with me. She doesn't blush. She doesn't even look remotely embarrassed. In fact, I think that's the gesture only makes her angrier. "We're gonna make you well, Yama!" she screams. This out the window like some kind of oath. "You're gonna be just fine!" Except I wasn't. No, I'm kidding. I had to break up the emotion somehow. I attend more sessions. I stay isolated from family and friends. My parents pay for the sessions, but I see nothing more of them. Legally, they're allowed to see me, but they don't insist. They probably don't really want to see me anyway. They haven't for years. More days slip by. I wonder if her friends have moved on with their lives, come back to school, prepare for the university exams, started dating. When I start speaking again, I ask Rui how long we've been at the hospital. 2 months and 2 weeks, she says. Is that it? Feels so much longer. I continue sessions, go for walks, eat hospital food. I think I start to heal, because the world feels a little less empty with each passing day. It's not my fault. I decide to say this to the mirror every morning, even if I don't believe it. Maybe if I say it enough, maybe if I raise my chin and put my hands on my hips, maybe if I act like I believe it, then I'll believe it. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. I stare into my reflection. Meaningless words pouring from my mouth. Mirror, mirror, on the wall. Who's the most broken of them all? It seems to whisper back. Broken you may be, young man, but I see one broken more still. Someone with nothing but blood in his eyes, and no person to love. Someone who fell into darkness until, one day, to ease his pain, he had suddenly become a serial killer. Mirror, mirror, couldn't I have become that man myself? In another world, a boy, damaged by an accident, growing up alone and reserved, with nothing but shadows as his constant companion. The boy could grow into a twisted teenager who could grow into a twisted man. But I think I understand. None of that happened. What more do I need to worry about? Maybe I just figured an innocent student. Maybe I stabbed a human being. Maybe I took part in a nightmare that never should have been dreamt. But in this world, and these circumstances, I'm not a twisted, lonely little boy. I grew up showered with love, surrounded by friends, given an ordinary school life. The me standing here and now wouldn't voluntarily lift a pipe or a knife to hurt someone without purpose. Because I'm not anyone else. Eventually, I stopped talking to my reflection. I stopped washing my hands every half hour. I feel at peace, I think. At the very least, I stopped blacking out. Bree says that it's been 3 months since our hospitalization. Summer is now deep in the hold of summer with a blazing July sun and humid forest wind. School's probably back in session. It didn't stop us from receiving gifts. Cards, letters, candy. Ruby gets swamped by them, of course. Surprisingly, even I receive a few. This time, I returned them for a different reason. Not because I plan on cutting off outer contact, but because I plan on seeing them in person. The both of us go through more psychology tests. This time, they seem happier with our responses, because they finally open the doors. That'll be it for this episode of Lucid9. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This is only gonna happen. This kind of outro is only gonna happen every once in a while, because if it happens all the time, then it just becomes like this black thing the thing in the back of your mind that you just constantly ignore without reason. Anyways, this has been Tyler, also known as Pocket. See you guys next time. Bye bye.